Hi, I'm Darryl Webster. In this video we're going to be taking a look at scheduling meetings for Microsoft Teams. We'll use Microsoft Teams, but we'll also use Outlook, and we'll compare the two. If you want to go a bit deeper into the reason why and some comparisons and opinions, then check out my video and my 10 cents video, but let's get right into it. Now, we're going to start off with Microsoft Teams and then we'll have a look at Outlook. To begin with, we are in the Microsoft Teams application and we've chosen the calendar application on the left-hand app bar. So we'll have a look at next week and organize a meeting. Now, within the calendar, we can change the view so that at the moment I'm looking at my working week and I could narrow it down to day or the full week. But I do prefer to narrow it to the working week as I'm planning my day. We're going to schedule a meeting for about 10 o'clock. Now this meeting, we've chosen the time slot and we can adjust the time further from half an hour to an hour in different increments there for the drop down box. You could also select the full hour by clicking and dragging to select that time slot. So that's another way to do it. Now we're going to add a few regular details to a meeting within Microsoft Teams. We're going to grab some selected text to save you from having to watch me type. So we're reviewing the messaging for a marketing campaign and we're going to require a couple of people. So within Microsoft Teams, this first box you can put in required attendees. And we're going to choose Patty. As I begin to type the person, it is going to suggest a person's name. And then we'll also choose Isaiah. Great. Now, within Microsoft Teams, we can also add optional attendees, people who don't have to attend, but it might be useful if they do. And in this case, we'll click the optional button here to expand out a couple of fields. And we'll actually add the Mark 8 project group. Okay, so we can choose to add the whole team, and the team will receive the meet and invite. They'll see that they're optional and that they don't have to attend, but it is something that they'll receive an invite for. You'll see that I've got some suggested times. It is checking across the two people that I have required for the meeting, and it's also checking the Mark 8 project team, but it comes up with some quick times that I can select to create that meeting. I'll go into the scheduling assistant at this stage, just while we're in the mode of looking for a spare time that's going to suit us all. And within Microsoft Teams, we do have a scheduling assistant, and it looks familiar, similar to the Outlook scheduling assistant, where we have the required attendees that we have added. And we can see the time slots that people are available, and thankfully this is a time that we're all available. And we could go through and choose different time slots like we can within Outlook. We've got optional attendees. You'll notice that because this is a team, I can't see inside that team and see all the availability of each of the attendees or each of the members of that team. So that's a useful feature. Now we'll go back to details and we're going to leave it as it's not a repeating meeting, but you can see within Teams that I could change and choose a recurrence. So we've got a few selections there. We can go into custom and we could change how often it recurs and select an end date. So very familiar settings there. There is an option within Microsoft Teams to add a channel. This means that we could hold the meeting within the Microsoft team itself and a channel. And by adding the meeting to a channel, it is available for other members in the team to see it and add it to their calendar. And when it is running, you will be able to see that meeting and you could join it at that time too. All the chat and various different other activities will remain in that conversation thread. Let's save that for another video. We're going to just add a location, and we'll choose from Building 1 the conference room Crystal. So this is good, and the room is also available at that time. And we're going to add the usual kinds of details to the meeting invite. Now I say usual, we're going to compare this to Outlook a bit later on. I'll just copy in a collection of text because I'm just outline an agenda and a purpose for the meeting, and we'll just change a few things like the heading style there, so that it could actually we could change the heading style for that. And there's a document that I want them to review as part of this meeting. And at this point, I could just quickly mention here, there's no option for me to insert a document. So what I am going to do is take a link to the document, which I have prepared earlier. And you will have to too if you are creating this meeting invite. And I'm going to hyperlink that so that people can find it. And when I'm creating this meeting invite in Teams, then they'll be able to open that document and review it. Great, so we've got everything that we need to get into that meeting invite. I haven't changed the time zone because I know that all people within this meeting are familiar with the Auckland, Wellington time zone in New Zealand. And we'll send that meeting off. Okay, so that meeting invite is now, you can see it in the calendar, and that's for Monday. Now let's do the same thing within Outlook. Before we go on to looking at Outlook, let's just go back in and see that meeting that we've created in Teams. One thing that has happened, and only after we have created and sent the meeting, it has added the Teams details to the bottom of the meeting invite. This doesn't happen until you create the meeting invite and send it off. Another thing that you may want to do is you could change the meeting options at this stage. These are options about how you would like people to enter the meeting and what level of permissions they may have within the meeting, if they're going to be a presenter or maybe they're just going to be an attendee. So to get to those options, again, you have to send the meeting invite off. You can't change these options while you're creating the meeting, and you would choose this hyperlink. Let's just quickly do that now and take a look at some of those options. Right, so after a control and left click to open that link in the meeting invite, I have the name and details of the meeting to confirm this is the meeting that I want to change. I can choose who can bypass the meeting lobby, and the default is that anyone in my organization can go straight into the meeting. If this was a meeting that I wanted to control the access for people to come into this meeting, I could change that it is people in my organization and people that I trust, or everyone. And I can also choose to announce whether people, when they join and leave. I tend to turn this option off. See the 10 cents worth video as to why. And I can set ahead of the meeting who can present, and this is a good one to choose if you want to limit the level of interaction or the level of collaboration and control within the meeting. I only want to have people within my organization who can take control of the desktop, can take control of presenting. I don't want guests in the meeting to be able to do so. And I'll save those options. So note again, we have to set those options after we have sent the meeting invite. And we'll close that. You'll notice actually as we go back into that meeting, we have, now that we've got the meeting space, people can go in and begin to chat within this meeting before the meeting. Let's say that there's a conversation going on that they want to start. We're starting to discuss certain options and making decisions even before we get into the meeting, then that is an option for us. There will be files that we could share into this chat, and this is a point where if you need to attach that same document that I had to hyperlink earlier, then I can go in and choose to attach it to the chat. And when we choose OneDrive, if that document is located in OneDrive, then that's where we can attach it. Unfortunately, this is a document that is in a Microsoft Teams, so this is not going to help me. We can go into adding some meeting notes. So there is a meeting notes wiki styled app that you can use within Teams. I prefer to use OneNote, and a whiteboard. So if you wanted to prepare for this meeting early and you were the meeting organizer, you could start to organize your whiteboard ahead of time, getting ready for collaboration within the meeting. And the best experience of that is using the whiteboard app. So let's close that and now have a look at scheduling this meeting within Outlook. Now this is a more familiar experience. We have the meeting right there. So we're going to just schedule it an hour beforehand so we can easily see the two meetings. We'll choose that meeting slot like we usually can. And within Outlook, there are a couple of options you can take. Now the ideal option is if you know it's going to be a Microsoft Teams meeting, then use the new Teams meeting button. This will add the Teams meeting details immediately as you create that meeting invite. So that's great, it means that I've created the meeting details and away they go. However, when we want to create that meeting from a reply from an email, for example, we could choose new meeting, or we'd be replying to an email, and you can add those Teams details after the fact. So we can go in and add those Teams details right there after we have created that meeting. So let's just add in a few of those details again that we had earlier. So it's the same subject. And we'll require the same people, Paddy. We'll get those people suggested, so that's good. And Isaiah. And as an option, we will add the Mark 8 project team again. We have a time that we've already selected, so this is good. We could change the recurrence like we usually can within Outlook, and that's quite useful. And at this point, there is something that we could actually take advantage of if we do want to use the scheduling assistant. Right now, we can see the availability of Paddy and Isaiah, but for the Mark 8 project team, it is an optional meeting. If I wanted to try and schedule this time slot so that it has a better chance of finding the availability of all the team members, then I can either back in this meeting window or in the scheduling assistant, I can click the plus sign and that will expand the list out of the members of the project team. So we can do that. Now we can't bring the team back together, but what that does help us do is when we go back to scheduling assistant, then we can see everyone's calendars and see if that's the best time that they're available. And that helps with our scheduling. Okay, so we'll take the same text for our meeting, drop that in there. The other thing that we want, I want people to do is review the attached slide deck, and at this point I don't have to hyperlink the attachment I want to add. I can, within Outlook, attach the file. I can see that's a recent file that I've opened and have been working on, and at this point I have the option to share a link or attach a copy. I'm going to share a link because I know that my whole team can already get to this document because they're members of that team. Great, so we have an attachment and we can send that off. Oh, we haven't added a meeting room yet. So we have a location, and you can see that the location is going to be Microsoft Teams, a Microsoft Teams meeting. We can also go in and choose from Building 1, the conference room, Crystal. There we go. And people will know that it is a Microsoft Teams meeting because of the details at the bottom. And when they go into the meeting, they'll also have the option to join the team meeting there as well. So this at least gives a physical location for people to attend. And we'll send that off. Right, so there are a couple of clear differences between scheduling the meeting within the Microsoft Teams application and scheduling it within Outlook. And we'll explore some of the reasons why we might choose one over the other in the My 10 Cents video on the topic. And we'll also explore in another video the same experience of scheduling the meeting within the Microsoft Teams mobile app or the Outlook mobile app, and we'll do a comparison between the two. If you're keen on seeing more content like this to help you make some practical choices around using Microsoft Teams and the other tools that give you a full experience too within the collaboration experience of your modern workplace, then follow along. Do subscribe to my video channel, to my YouTube channel, and we'll catch you again. Bye for now.